Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you the basics of strings and variables. So we're going to be using Eclipse for this tutorial. So right, we need to create a project first because I'm presuming you guys know nothing. So we're going to go File, New, Project. I'm going to call it Tuts because we're doing tutorials. Finish. Don't create. So for all the tutorials in this series, they're going to be in the tutorials project. So probably best that you make a tutorials project yourself. So then we're going to do a class, which is like a file or like a new bit of programming, kind of essentially. Don't worry too much about the classes yet. So we're going to call this string and variables, because that's what it is. And click main here. That's really important, and I'll tell you why now. So later on, when things get complicated, you're going to have like loads of different classes. But the main essentially is like the brain. It's like the hub. So like when you're programming, the main is always run first. So from the main, then you can call your other classes. So when you have one file, when you have one string, you need to have the main there because, you know, it's the main. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you some basic string stuff. So before we go into strings, we need to learn variables. So what variables are is essentially how your program knows, is how to store stuff in code, in programming. So essentially when we declare a new variable, we're saying, oh, I need some space, and then you assign the value to the variable. So you're saying, oh, I want this in that space. So if we go something simple like string name equals Bob. So what we've done here is we said, I want to book a bit. I want to book some space. In that space, I want the booking to be called name, and then in that space, store Bob. So if you think about it, it's kind of like an address. So my address is name, and in the address of like your house lives Bob. That makes sense. So again, if you want to do something else like string job equals quotation marks doctor. So what we've said here is, oh, I need, my address is job, and in job lives doctor. And here string, so today is about strings. So strings really is like words, if you think about that. So as you can see here quite clearly is words. When you're doing strings, you have to have the quotation marks or else it won't work. This is a no-go. So make sure you have your strings, your quotation marks. So you can also book space without putting anything into it. So if we were to do string, I'm trying to think what I would do. Let's just say, for instance, color equals, and we don't know what the color is yet, but we don't know what the color is. And later on, we might have something that would allow the user to input a color. So they could say, oh, my favorite color is red. And then what we'd do is, so I'm not going to do it now, but we'd have like input color. So somebody would input their color. And once we found out what the input is, we'd set color equal to red. And that way now, you might notice we don't have the string here, because when you first declare a variable, you need to tell what type it is. So we've said color is type string. So then down here, when we say color equals red, the computer is like, oh, hold on a second, color. Oh, I know what color is already. It means red. Color is a string, sorry. So I don't need to say string again. That's redeclaring a variable. But we're just referencing that variable again. So the space is already booked. We're just changing. So think of it like your house. You have your house, and what this is doing is saying a new person's moved in instead of somebody else. So before the house was empty, but now we have the first occupant is red. And if we wanted to change the occupant again, we do color equals blue. So now essentially, in your house, which the address is color, red isn't living there anymore, blue is. That's what that does. Okay. So now we know like the really basics of strings and variables. And don't worry if this is kind of overwhelming, because I remember when I studied this in college, but before I did, I was trying to teach myself off the internet as well, and it's really, really hard, and you're not going to get it all at the beginning. So the best way to learn this stuff is just go over it again and pause the video, take your time to understand stuff. And if you don't, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Not an issue. Okay, so now we have our strings. So we have a string called name, doctor, and color. Let's remove color. Let's call this number. Okay, so number. So and let's set that to 1. I'll come back to that later. So now you can see these in yellow, and that's not an error, it's just a warning. It's just saying they're not used because we've set, so all we've done here is being like, okay, string name equals Bob. That's it. Nothing's been done with that. So we're going to change that right now. So if you want to print out stuff so that we can see it as like users, this is what we do. We do system sy. Oh, I don't know why that's yellow. I don't know. Okay, so so what I did there, I just did sys out and then control spacebar. That's on Windows and it does it for you. But otherwise you can just type it out normally. So system is saying the system, and dot out is saying I want you to put something out, and what I want you to put out is a print statement. And ln is just a new line after you print it. Don't worry about that. So now if you want to do that, because our variables are stored in the computer and there's type string, we can just do name. And that will print out Bob. There you go. So we see Bob. But if we wanted to print out Kevin, but we don't have Kevin stored, and we did this, that's an error, because this is what you're saying is, oh, system, print this out and Kevin, and he's like, well, what the fuck? I mean, what is Kevin? I don't know what Kevin is. So you need to be like, oh yeah, sugar, Kevin is a type of string, so I'm going to put you in quotation marks. And now the computer's like, oh, okay, you want to print out Kevin the word. Okay, cool, I can do that. And it prints out Kevin. So there you go. That's basically the system out.print. So the number here, 1. So numbers. So like I said, anything in quotation marks is a word essentially. So you know, like you can have like number 1 or letter number 1 essentially. So when you're like, for instance, if you're writing down number 1 beside number 1, that's not 11. That's 1 1. So it's pretty similar here. So if you do string number, and we do string number 2, let's add that equal to 2. If we do down here number plus number 2, what's gonna happen is we're gonna get 12, but not number 12. We're gonna get letter number plus letter number 2, which essentially is whatever's stored in number 1, whatever's stored in number, and whatever's stored in number 2 squished together. So we're gonna get 1 2 down here. There you go. Same way if we were to do another 2 strings here, string para. Oh, let's do word 1 equals para. Okay, and we did, oops, daisy, oops again. String word 2 equals shoot. Okay, so the same way this worked here with number and number 2, if we did word and word 2, we're going to get one word called parachute. Why is that? Oh yeah, because I have word 1. Okay, so that's going to give us the word parachute down here. Parachute. So what that does is, like, when you add them together, it concatenates them, so it squishes them together and make one big word. But if we, for instance, we wanted to have, let's say, word 1 was job, and then this was cook. So now we have word 1 and word 2, but we don't want job cook. We want some spaces and stuff. That doesn't look right. No, it doesn't. So what we do is, so same way here you're adding in words, you can also add in the quotation mark words, if that makes sense. So if you want to add a space, you just do this. So now what you're saying to the computer is, oh, I need you to print out the variable word, and he's gonna go like, okay, so that's job. I want you to print out an empty space, because what's that registered in the quotation marks we printed out, and we had a space. So it's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna print space, and then you're saying, oh, I want you to print out word 2 as well. and he goes back here, like, oh, cook, okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do job space cook, like so. And yeah, that's that. So that's for the first tutorial, guys. That's just really basic strings. But like I said, it's really important to take things slow, because I've watched a lot of tutorials and they jump straight into like the hard stuff, and if you don't get the basics, you're not going to get anything else. It's like building a house. You got to lay down the foundations first and build up. So in the next episode, next tutorial, we're going to be doing integers, which is numbers. And that's a lot of fun, and then we'll go from there. So guys, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, and also if you have any questions, you can't do something or you're stuck, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks guys.